Hey guys, back breaking down some MCQs. This video is on simulation session 2 as we continue with commercial real estate to finish it out. SIMS 2, similar to SIMS 1, we're now working with the majority of questions being long-worded scenario-based questions again, and the majority of people did find SIMS 2 to be more difficult than SIMS 1. So best to come in over prepared as usual. There is some math questions as well. I know there's some people out there that really do not like math questions, but we can get through this and we have to close this out. But back at it, simulation session 2, Exam Master MCQ video breakdowns with me. As usual, if you're looking for additional support to pass SIMS 2, look for my Exam Master mini course in the description below. Or if you're getting close to the end and you really want to start getting prepared of working with buyers and sellers, I'll talk on my course on how to work with buyers and sellers A to Z here in Ontario later in the video, but let's just jump right into the computer and break down these multiple choice questions. Okay guys, we're just at question 1 here. If you've ever seen me do these before, I just read these questions, we break down the answers, why the answer is right, maybe more importantly, why it's not right. You can learn so much from these practice questions and from wrong potential answers. So I'll touch on my fundamentals a little bit too. I use the cursor. I pretend like I'm on the exam like I was before. I basically move the cursor to each possible answer. I leave it hovered over if nothing sounds wrong or it sounds right. And I move it on or eliminate in my mind if it's for sure wrong type thing. So I just move it along, and I'll touch on a few other fundamentals as well. But basically, let's just dive straight into it. You might have seen me do this before on previous courses. 1, Alex and Mark have been leasing a commercial retail store for almost 3 years, and they're looking to assign their lease to another possible tenant. They have 6 months left on their lease. If the landlord gives consent to sublet or assignment, what would Alex and Mark be liable for? Perfect. Okay. And again, you're going to be into majority, of course, long-worded questions, right? So just be prepared for it. This is fantastic stuff and exactly what I wish I'd have as well to go through and stuff like this. Okay. A, once the unit has been subletted, Alex and Mark have no liability. Okay. So we know this, or you're learning this. They will be liable for at least something, maybe everything. Let's find out. B, in Ontario, once a lease agreement is signed, Alex and Mark are legally allowed to sublet their lease with no liability once the landlord agrees to the assignment. Okay, so there is some liability, but that answer doesn't sound bad, if you know what I mean. And who knows? Like if you're learning, you're already on SIMS 2, you know there's different rules when it comes to commercial and residential, right? Doesn't protect the tenant as much, does it? So, but still, we move on because we know if the landlord gives the tenant consent for a sublet or assignment, then the tenant remains liable for the whole term of the lease. Okay, perfect. Let's leave it hovered over there for now and go on to D. Alex and Mark are only liable for the chattels and fixtures in the unit until the lease expires. They are liable for the rent as well. So answer C, and just good one to know that possibly, most likely will pop up. And also good to know for real life. So that's always good stuff. I love dual purpose stuff like that. 2, top left, deep breath. Sarah's writing a custom condition for her buyer clients that are interested in putting in an offer on an industrial property. Her buyer clients, Bill and Steve, have some concerns about the load capacity. What statement is true about writing a custom condition for load capacity in an agreement of purchase and sale? Okay, perfect. Off to A. Sarah should write the offer conditional upon the buyer's lawyer reviewing the industrial equipment to make sure it is of legal requirements. Okay, so the buyer's lawyer would not be performing such a task, if you know what I mean. So you could definitely eliminate that in your mind, although it sounded like a fast, good answer. B, Sarah should write the offer conditional upon confirmation by a structural engineer that the floor load capacity will support her client's industrial equipment and obtaining a satisfactory report. Okay, nothing sounds wrong there to me. Always leave the cursor hovered over stuff that nothing possibly sounds wrong, and use my fundamentals of these long-worded answers and questions to gather more information, right? So don't be intimidated by them. It just gives us more information to gather, right? If we're not panicked during these exams, we can crush them. Okay, C, I'd leave it hovered over. Basically, yeah, well, maybe touch on that a little bit more. So talk on correct, like, always refer to, like, you'll probably noticed it by now. It's like, yes, refer to third-party professionals, but refer to the right ones, if you know what I mean, right? Not the buyer's lawyer, refer to the right ones, structural engineer, stuff like that, right? So C, but just in case, we keep reading. C, Sarah will always write the offer conditional upon a structural engineer inspecting the load capacity at the seller's expense. Okay, so right away, I'll take it over here for a second.
look for these big words, right? Must, always, accept, stuff like that, right? Buyer, sellers, a substitute. These are tricky words they throw in there. Always write the offer conditional. On a structural engineer, you're not going to always write the offer conditional. And it's usually at the buyer's expense, right? Just like a normal residential home inspection, right? For example, right? So that one I would eliminate. Go to D. Sarah will write the offer conditional upon a structural engineer reviewing the building plans and that this condition is included for the benefit of the seller and may be waived to the seller's sole option. This condition is included for the benefit of the buyer. Okay, perfect. B, answer and move on. 3, top left, deep breath. You as a salesperson are writing up a custom condition for your commercial buyer clients. You are writing a condition on the property, on the building property inspection, and you write the condition as a condition subsequent. Okay, what is true about a condition subsequent? Perfect. And this is stuff you need to know, right? So a condition subsequent has no waiver, shows more good faith, and is binding if nothing is done. Okay, so nothing sounds wrong here. Let's leave it over here. Let's say you don't know yet, right? Okay. B, condition subsequents can be waived, and if the condition is not completed by expiry of the condition period, the condition is deemed waived. It cannot be waived. Condition subsequents cannot be waived. C, in a commercial transaction, you would always use a condition subsequent, although they are used quite often, significantly more used than residential, right? There are multiple ways to write a condition. D, with a condition subsequent, there is a waiver provision built into the condition. There is no waiver. Okay, I'm going to put a video as well. If you haven't watched this video yet, it's a must. It's going to break it all down. Just get things in your mind and ready to go for this exam. So I'll link it right now. Just look for that condition video. Maybe watch it at the end or just save it for later. Okay, off to 4. On to a dreaded math question. So maybe you can even pause this right now and try to do this math question on your own. But I'll break it down, of course, because you'll learn. Learning it's just as good. You as a salesperson are looking to calculate the cap rate for a client. Your client is an investor, and the cap rate will be essential in their decision to invest the property. So that's like essentially that stuff. That information is just like useless. Okay, I mean, like, okay, that's good to know, but like that's how they make these words long worded, right? The property is listed for $192,575 and will be rented monthly for $2,100. What is the cap rate? Okay, so on your when you're doing this, you will have a little button here. So this is a mock-up, obviously, right? So I don't have that button, but like this will pop up. So your formulas tab will pop up, right? And you know what you're looking for, right? C, cap, V, value, I, income. And always note that income is annual operating income, right? So you don't need to memorize these, even though I did. But you don't need to memorize these. And then you'll have a little note thing. It'll be separate to here. It'll be like your formulas tab, and then it'll be something over here that will be like, to do calculations, right? So it'd be awkward. It's going to be awkward, anticipated being awkward, popping up like this and blocking everything, right? So that's annoying. But basically, okay, what do we have for a cap rate? Perfect. I divided by V, right? And I'll just show you the calculation right here. But you can just do it on your own if you liked. And you'll see one calculation in there that's tricky that you had to do is times by 12, because what did they mention? Monthly rent, right? And we need annual income, right? So 2,100 times 12 equals 25.2 divided by 192,575 equals 0.1309. Or when it comes to moving decimal places into percentages, we always move them 2 decimal places to the right, don't we? 1309, right? And just try to reverse engineer stuff. Guess what? When you're dealing with math questions, like it's there. So it's just numbers and you can just mix it up, but don't get confused because sometimes they'll do tricky things. Like for instance, I bet you like this is if you don't divide by 12, right? So you're like, okay, I got a cap rate of 1.009. So like that'll happen, right? So be careful on that. Okay, guys, go back over these again if needed, but we'll see you right out of the computer.
I really hope that helped, guys. And as mentioned, if you're at the point now, you're just about finished and you want to start learning how to work with buyers and sellers, look for my buyer and seller logistics and actions from A to Z course in the description below, where I go into perfect detail of how to do it all. It's the exact flow of a real estate transaction here in Ontario. You will learn in a week what takes average agents months months, years, or what I'm finding out, some never learn. It is exactly what I would have wanted when I finished the Humber College Real Estate program. It would have saved me so much stress. And what's maybe most important is you'll have it to refer back to when needed. That is huge. That course link in the description below, and I'll put it at the end of the video as well, is a value link for the time being for the YouTube family. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you're looking for those links either for SIMS 2 Exam Master Mini Course or the Buyer and Seller Logistics and Actions course, look for them in the description below. I'm Callum Moore, eXp Realty Real Estate Broker here in Ontario. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you in the next one.